Hey guys, it's Marissa from Grow in the Flow, and I'm coming in here on Thriving Thursday to take a look at the next planetary action that is streaming onto the planet. Today we're talking about Neptune Retrograde. So you may still be feeling the residual waves of that very powerful new moon in Cancer. We are in Cancer season, so the water element is abounding, definitely bringing up a lot of depth of emotion, sensitivity, and more. So to add on to that, just before that new moon peaked on Tuesday, we had Neptune entering retrograde. And so we're going to dig in a little bit about Neptune. The good news is this is a rather gentle retrograde that tends to happen behind the scenes. So what we want to do here is just kind of have an awareness to empower ourselves again to align with what the energy is, because we are going with the flow, being present. So when we take a look at what Neptune represents, it is the planet of spirituality, illusion, higher truth. It's also highly active at this time because it is in the sign of Pisces, which is its home sign. So more water energy, more emotion, more sensitivity coming up to the surface. And so with that new moon that was sending strong waves of watery energy our way, the waves can certainly get choppy. The energies can be quite all-encompassing, but it rarely lasts long. Just like the ocean, it will calm again. So one of the beautiful symbols I like to tune into is imagining as those waves settle, that we get the chance to see what has washed up on the shore. So with that, what is left when the tide recedes? We might receive insights, new information, new inspiration. There's clarity that follows those waves of watery energy that helps us to see a new truth. And that is certainly very in line with what the planet of Neptune encompasses and what is reflected for us. So let's take a look here. And again, I lean into the beautiful materials that are provided by some really talented astrologers and readers that provide some great resources for us to tune into. So Neptune, being that it is the ruler of water, spirituality, intuition, creativity, it represents illusions, deceits, dreams, art, fantasy, entertainment, drugs, alcohol. It's all energy that when it is strong state, it casts a veil, which can sometimes create a fogginess or confusion. And so when the outside world is foggy, Neptune reminds us that the only place for us to go is within. Now, as Neptune has entered retrograde on the 28th, it is bringing in a veil that is lifting. And so what happens there is we find that we are confronted with truths. Illusions can come crashing down and deceits can be exposed. So think about that in terms of what you're seeing happen collectively, what is happening for you in your microcosm. Neptune retrograde can reveal things that we're hiding or that perhaps we didn't want to see. So now this retrograde is going to be in effect until December 3rd. So we have a good while to sit with this energy kind of, again, flowing in the background. And what we can do here is take a look at the time periods that might be washing up for you. So this particular Neptune retrograde cycle helps us to look back over the events from late June to early December 2021. So again, thinking way back, what was going on for you in that time period to see if we need to look at things with perhaps a healthy dose of reality. Neptune is the planet that shows us that we may have to take our rose-colored glasses off if we haven't been able to face up to the truth. There's, again, a lot of clarity and things being cleansed and cleared in this energy. Neptune retrograde allows us to see where we may have been falsely led on our spiritual journey or where we have been leading with our ego rather than love. So there's a lot of powerful energy there. And what that's doing is meeting up with the other two planets that we currently have in retrograde. So we're just, again, not fearful, mindful, being present with what is so that we're prepared and aware of the energies that we are in. So as we take a look at this, we'll explore a little more about the energies of Neptune and the different properties as well as the challenges and gifts that Neptune presents. Neptune is like a cool blue pearl floating in an inky sea. This planet symbolizes how we float in the ocean of the collective conscious. Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, and it takes about 165 years to tour the zodiac. Now, on a practical level, it signals water, liquids, oils, art supplies. On a challenging day, it shows how we avoid gritty reality, whether we escape through our imagination, addictions, or martyrdom. On a lovely day, Neptune speaks of spirituality, imagination, and psychic perception. So a Neptune action that's being presented for us today are things such as pray, meditate, intuit, use your divination, rest and dream, activate the right side of your brain, and step out of sequential logic into a sense of the infinite. Engage ceremony and ritual. Find a dream or vision and bring it back here to manifest. Because Neptune invokes both intuition and imagination, it can blur the boundaries between the two. It's all too easy to believe that what you want or what you're afraid of is in fact reality, which can make it easy for others to manipulate you by playing to your hopes and fears. Now take each step with care. Working with Neptune is like walking in the fog. You can see the present moment clearly, it's just that the future and the past can get lost in the hopes and fears. If the world feels too harsh, or if you're feeling easily overwhelmed, tend to your sensitive antenna. Pray rather than worry. So that to me is about putting energy into what we wish to bring into the world, what we want to manifest, not the worries and the fears that can be very clouded by this foggy energy. The challenge, again, of Neptune is that Neptune overwhelm can turn acceptance into passivity, imagination into illusion, sensitivity and the hunger for spirit into addiction. On a practical level, watch for water damage. So that's another thing that Neptune can bring in. Now, the gift of Neptune, allow yourself to float, to swim in that great ocean of the collective consciousness. Soak up the presence of divine soul. There is no separation between you and all sentient beings, between you and the realms of gods and spirits. And so those are some of the awarenesses that Neptune brings forward for us that we can work with. So now we're going to go ahead and pull some cards with a few Neptune reflections. Okay guys, we're going to tune into the energies of Neptune Retrograde with a few Neptune reflections. So these can be used as either journal topics or intentions you set with cards. I encourage you to explore these for yourself personally, but what we're going to do now is tune into the collective energies, and we're going to use this gorgeous deck, Whispers of the Ocean. I've been using this deck in my summer solstice readings and all things water related for Cancer season and otherwise. They're gorgeous cards, and they're going to give us some insight into working with Neptune retrograde. So the first position, how can I be more aligned with my inner truth? So we're tuning into collective energy to see what comes forward for aligning with inner truth. Second position, how can I be more open to what I'm not seeing? Third, what kind of deception or illusion is currently present? Tuning into the collective, deception or illusions currently present. And fourth, what step is needed to remove my rose-colored glasses? Okay, let's go ahead and pull these up and take a look at what's come forward. Okay, so here we have these 4 beautiful cards that have come forward. We're going to take a look at each one of them one by one as we look back upon these Neptune reflections. So for the first position, we were intending, how can I be more aligned with my inner truth? And we have this gorgeous card, In the Light of the Moon. Now, what this card is saying is a full moon can shine light on what you have been resisting. This can be anything from your fears to your soul's beauty. So again, I think aligning ourselves with the current energies to kind of having that veil rise, the mist to clear, using the planetary energies, and again, this new moon energy that has come in, and we're building up to a very powerful supermoon on July 13th. When we work with the phases of the moon and be present with what is, it can help to illuminate or shed light on things that have previously been hidden from our view or have been otherwise illusory. And then specifically this card, it's showing us the orca whale. And orca whales are considered one of the most intelligent mammals on Earth. And they usually travel in groups and hunt for prey at night. And they represent dreams, intuition, emotions, and healing. So that's telling me, how can you be more aligned with your inner truth? Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the intuitive hits that are coming in for you. Now here we see this orca leaping high into the air in front of a full moon. And that's about bringing your attention to issues that you can no longer afford to avoid. We can't make this stuff up. This card is coming in saying, it's here to be seen. The light is being shown upon it. So think about, again, collectively, we're tapping into universal energy as well as what may be playing out for you in your life. So, when you kind of take a big step back and look at the big picture of what is happening around you, what is happening around the collective, we are talking about shining light on things and bringing attention to issues that we can no longer afford to avoid. So finally, this card says to use the light of the moon to draw your attention to something that you need to be willing to release. Balance your need to be right or strong. So again, that feels like a little bit of working between 3D, 5D energy. So 3D in our ego, very much, here in the physical world. 5D connecting in with our inner wisdom, with our higher self, and finding that balance between the two in order to align best with our inner truth. Now let's take a look at the second position. Okay, for card 2, our intention was, how can I be more open to what I'm not seeing? And we have here this card of setting up parameters. And the guidance is to assess your relationships and determine how they are aligned with your goals. Setting boundaries requires an honest evaluation of your present relationships. I'm very curious what fish this is. So I'm taking a look here, talking about, being more open to what we're seeing. And what we have here is the clown trigger fish. Interesting. It's so named due to the various spots and colorful markings that appear on the fish. It's almost as if the fish is wearing a clown costume or makeup. Clown triggerfish are very territorial and protective of their environment. The clown triggerfish is fearless and will protect its boundary. It does not care if it is much smaller than a threatening predator. It will relentlessly confront its foe. So, how do we be more open to what we are not seeing? It's very telling to me that they're describing this fish as being the clown fish that's sort of almost like masked or hidden, wearing that costume or makeup. So again, being invited to look beyond the surface and seeing things behind the curtain for you. So what is coming up into your awareness that could be very different than what you thought you were seeing, right? Different things coming into your awareness. And then with that is a reminder to set up those personal boundaries, setting up those parameters for what is acceptable for you and what is not. So I also feel, that energy coming in, and it does look at our relationships. So if that's showing up for you in your relationships, and that could be, personal relationships, family, professional relationships, others around you that you see interacting, kind of having you evaluate those things and see what is serving you and what may no longer be serving you. The previous card talked about releasing and letting go of things using that full moon energy. Oftentimes, when we come through a new moon where we're talking about what's new, what we want to bring in to manifest, we then spend that next moon cycle working with moving through manifesting those things, but also releasing, shedding, letting go, and forgiving those things that we are no longer in need of. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the third position. Okay, so card 3 was the one that asked, what kind of deception or illusion is currently present? And we have here this card that says, connect to source. Go within to discover what needs to be done. Create the shift required to attract what you want. Now this feels like a nod back to the first card, where we're focusing on what we want to bring in. We're focusing on what we are building. What we have here are feather stars. Feather stars are starfish with bodies that have adapted to living upside down. They firmly attach to rocks on the ocean floor. The feather star connects to many aspects of balancing the mind, body, and spirit. There are times we need to go within for answers and find inner strength and resolve, and to tap into deep emotions. So this has been coming up in a lot of my private readings where, we're kind of using this inner truth detector. So here we are talking about what kind of deception or illusion is currently present around me, around in the collective. And so we observe things, we take in information, we do so from as objective a point of view as possible. So we're taking it in, and we don't just critically think about it, take it through our mind, analyze, use logic. We also want to run it through the heart and the gut and feel how that information feels to you, how that situation is settling within you. And if something's not right, if it doesn't feel quite right, or it leads you to asking more questions or pondering things more deeply, this is where, you can become more aware of the deception or illusion that's currently present. Now, what might some of those things be? What might be showing up for you? This card talks about how everything you do and think influences your world. So it's inviting you to take a moment to reflect on what your intentions and actions are. So if they're more reserved, patient, tender, expressing those things with not just yourself, but also for those around you. So having more patience, more tenderness, being ready for many opportunities that are coming to you. So, deception, illusions that are present could be within your own mind, your own negative self-talk, your own limiting beliefs that were perhaps telling you not good enough, the not good enough isms, the comparisonitis, looking outside at others and believing that you're not good enough or you don't have what it takes. And some of those deceptions or illusions that have been allowed to kind of run amok in the mind are now being taken down again through that inner truth detector, running it through your heart, running it through your gut, and feeling into it and calling it out, calling out the BS, okay? And so this is about anticipating that your future will be better than the period of life lessons that you have just completed. So when things are really heavy, when things are really emotional, as we are in this watery energy, recognize that where you are headed, what this is serving to bring up to the surface for you, what it is serving to clarify for you, is going to take you to bigger and better opportunities and a time in your life where you are much more clear and connected to source. Let's take a look at the last card. Okay, so finally, card 4, the intention is, what step is needed to remove my rose-colored glasses? And I don't know if there was a better card to come up in this deck. We've got look beyond the surface. Avoid becoming distracted by surface issues. Focus on the underlying motivation, cause, or beauty in a situation. Seek ways to bring depth to your world. Okay, whether we're talking about, again, the collective, or we're talking about your little microcosm, what is playing out for you, taking off the rose-colored glasses involves, again, looking beneath the surface. But a key message here is avoid becoming distracted by surface issues. On the surface, things can seem one way, look one way, but when we dive deep below, again, and allow those things to come through our inner truth detector, we receive more clarity. It doesn't quite look as rosy, perhaps, or whatever colored lens we were looking through, in order to see a deeper reality. So what we have here bringing that message in for us are whales, and talking about how at first sight it might appear that whales have warts covering their faces, bodies, and tails, but the bumps on a humpback whale's snout are tubercles, and their bodies become home to sea barnacles. Sea barnacles find locations in the ocean, from the shore side to the deep ocean, to attach. And while juvenile barnacles swim and drift with the ocean currents, when they have nearly matured, barnacles find identical barnacles to attach to the same surface. They choose the site, which ranges from the bottom of a boat to the side of a whale. And this means that the barnacles are on a whale's face are fully developed and immobile. The appearance of barnacles does not diminish the majesty and beauty of the whales. In fact, it gives the whales' bodies an interesting detail. So that's interesting. There's a lot of symbolism there because there's a couple different parties involved. It's not just the big whale itself, which is the obvious whale in the room, but we have these barnacles that are also attaching onto the whale. So thinking about things that you're seeing, things that you're observing, if we're talking about it being through rose-colored glasses or removing those glasses to see things differently, we have the symbolism of the barnacle, and we have the life cycle of the barnacle where in its younger, more early stages, it's mobile and moving around and adaptable. And then as it ages, it settles in and perhaps becomes very immobile and kind of like glommed on here to the whale, so what type of energies do you have kind of maybe trailing along with you unawares that you might be hitching a ride with you that you're carrying around on one respect. But some pretty cool symbolism there when you think about taking off those rose-colored glasses. Now, just kind of looking here at the oracle, it invites you to allow your senses to become aware of the perfection that surrounds you. Allure exists in all aspects of your life, in nature, in relationships, in your own being. If you're missing it, assess what you have been focusing your attention on and look for the beauty in your life instead. If you look, you are sure to find it. Get in touch with your sensuality through sight, smell, taste, and touch. Draw on your senses and experience contentment and deep satisfaction. So this is getting into self-care, allowing yourself to indulge. And so again, all of this deep, watery energy, a lot of emotions, take time for yourself. And, if you enjoy being in the water, spend some time in or near the water to help cleanse and clear. But also don't forget to get grounded. That is so important right now. So with all of these messages coming through, it really is about coming back to center, coming back to self, and connecting in with nature. So that is always fantastic guidance for helping to navigate these choppy waters. Okay, so as we look back over this information that's coming forward, we have some guidance here on some Neptune retrograde do's and don'ts. So again, do pay close attention to your dreams, dream journaling, listen to your intuition, let your creativity flow, learn new forms of divination, work with the water, such as soothing baths, making moon water, meditating near natural bodies of water, swimming, just enjoying time in and near the water. Some don'ts: don't ignore your intuition, don't ignore your dreams, don't ignore changes, don't run away from truths or reality, don't believe that ignorance is blissful. So a couple do's and don'ts there for you to work with Neptune retrograde, along with some crystal energies. I'm loving these beautiful shades of blue, very soothing, very cooling. We also have labradorite, tanzanite for deep spiritual connection, revealing things that are hidden, working with our intuition, dream work, soothing, watery energies, really beautiful crystals that you can bring in and around you, meditate on, and work with otherwise to help you work with the beautiful energies that are being offered to us at this time. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your feedback. I'd love to know how you are navigating these times. If you want to try out this, the spread or the journal topics that I had here, feel free to pull your own cards, maybe share in the comments below. Always love to hear your feedback. Now, next up, I am in the process of booking my July empowerment packs. So I just want to make you aware that that is a pretty cool bundle where for the month of July, we work together through 3 different specific readings. We take a look at the month ahead energies for you, focusing in on beginning, middle, and end, bringing in all the elements that you can work with: color, crystals, spirit animal, all kinds of goodies. And then we will also tune in for you around the full moon, July 13th, and the new moon, July 28th. There's some real powerful energy coming up, and always there are unlimited one-card pulls all month for you. If you would like to work with me, I would love to have you. Now booking, the link will be below. So thank you so much for joining me. I am sending you all so much love and many blessings. Take good care.